Late summer, 2001. Across the United States, airports are busy, skies are full, and millions of people move through their daily routines without fear. But inside a few quiet offices, scattered warnings are beginning to appear. Small clues, strange reports, unusual requests. Individually, they seem minor. Together, they could have told a very different story. No one knows it yet, but history is already moving toward one of the most shocking days the world will ever witness. And weeks before that day arrives, the signs are already there. It begins with something unusual happening inside American flight schools. In Arizona, instructors notice several foreign students who seem intensely focused on learning how to control large commercial aircraft. That alone is not strange. The United States trains thousands of international pilots every year. But something about these students feels different. Some of them are not interested in basic pilot skills. They don't ask about takeoffs. They don't ask about landings. Instead, they seem fascinated by only one thing: how to control a large passenger plane while it is already in the air. For experienced instructors, this raises quiet concern. One FBI agent stationed in Phoenix begins paying attention. His name is Kenneth Williams. As he gathers information, he notices a pattern. Several individuals from the Middle East are attending American aviation schools. Some have questionable backgrounds. Some show unusual behavior. And some seem connected through travel and financial activity. Williams decides this might not be coincidence. So in July 2001, he writes an internal intelligence memo. The document becomes known as the Phoenix Memo. In it, he warns that extremist groups may be sending people to U.S. flight schools to learn aviation skills. He suggests the FBI should investigate these students and track flight training nationwide. The memo travels through official channels, but inside a massive intelligence system handling thousands of reports every week, it does not receive urgent attention. No nationwide investigation begins. The warning quietly fades into paperwork. Meanwhile, thousands of miles away, another suspicious case is unfolding. In August 2001, a man walks into a flight training center in Minnesota. His name is Zacarias Moussaoui. Almost immediately, instructors feel something is wrong. Moussaoui wants to train on advanced flight simulators used for large commercial jets. But he has almost no real flying experience. Even more strange, he refuses to learn basic procedures. He does not care about takeoff. He does not care about landing. He only wants to understand how to steer the plane while cruising at high altitude. The instructors become alarmed. They contact the FBI. Soon, agents begin questioning Moussaoui. His answers are vague. His behavior is suspicious. And investigators start believing he may be connected to something dangerous. Agents urgently request permission to search his laptop computer. They believe it may contain critical information. But the request runs into legal complications. At the time, strict rules govern intelligence investigations, especially when foreign individuals are involved. Supervisors are uncertain whether the evidence meets the legal threshold for a special search warrant. Days pass. The request moves through bureaucracy, and the laptop remains unopened. Inside intelligence agencies, other warnings are also appearing. Throughout the summer of 2001, American intelligence analysts intercept increasing communications from extremist networks. Many of these messages contain worrying language. Some mention attacks. Some mention preparations, but they rarely include details. No clear location. No exact target. No specific date. Analysts know something is coming, but they cannot see the full picture. In July 2001, a senior counterterrorism official reportedly tells colleagues something chilling. He says the intelligence system is blinking red. Threat reports are rising. Signals are appearing across multiple channels. Yet the information remains fragmented. One agency holds one piece. Another agency holds another. But those pieces are not easily shared. At the time, Strict legal and bureaucratic barriers limit cooperation between intelligence and law enforcement. This separation is sometimes called the wall. It was designed to protect civil liberties, but it also makes rapid information sharing extremely difficult. So while investigators in Minnesota grow increasingly suspicious of Moussaoui, they do not know about the Phoenix memo. And while analysts reviewing international intelligence see hints of a major operation, they do not know about the strange flight training cases inside the United States. The puzzle pieces remain scattered across the system. In late August 2001, investigators become even more concerned about Moussaoui. They believe he may be planning something involving airplanes. One agent later says they feared he might attempt to crash an aircraft into a building.
But without stronger legal approval, they cannot access his computer. They cannot fully examine his background. They cannot uncover the network behind him. The days continue to pass. Summer slowly turns toward autumn. Air travel continues as usual. Airports remain open and welcoming. Cockpit doors are unlocked during flights. Security screening is far less strict than it will become later. No one imagines that commercial airplanes could soon be used as weapons. And then the date arrives, September 11th, 2001. That morning begins like any other. Passengers board flights, flight attendants greet travelers, pilots prepare their routes across the American sky. But within minutes after takeoff, something goes terribly wrong. 4 airplanes stop responding normally. Communication becomes strange. Flight paths suddenly change. Inside air traffic control centers, confusion begins to grow. Controllers watch radar screens in disbelief. Something is happening, something unprecedented. Soon the world will witness images that will never be forgotten. But in the days after the attacks, investigators begin looking backward. They search through intelligence files, they examine warnings, they review reports, and slowly, disturbing connections begin to emerge. The Phoenix memo, the Minnesota flight school case, intercepted communications about a coming attack. Pieces of information scattered across different agencies, each one small, each one incomplete, but together forming a pattern. Investigators discover that several of the hijackers had indeed trained at flight schools in the United States, exactly the possibility mentioned in the Phoenix memo weeks earlier. They also realize that Moussaoui had links to extremist networks connected to the plot. His laptop, finally examined after the attacks, contains information related to aviation and potential targets. The clues were there, but they were never fully connected. Years later, investigations attempt to understand how this happened. Reports from official inquiries describe a system overwhelmed with information, separated by bureaucracy, and struggling to adapt to a new type of threat. Thousands of intelligence signals arrive every year. Most lead nowhere. Only a few reveal real danger. The challenge is knowing which ones matter. And in the summer of 2001, several warnings appeared at the same time, but they remained isolated, unshared, unrecognized. History often changes because of decisions made in moments of uncertainty. A memo that receives more attention, a search warrant approved sooner, a database checked one more time. Sometimes the difference between ordinary days and historic tragedy lies inside those small decisions. The warnings before September 11th did not clearly reveal the future, but they showed something unusual, something worth questioning, something that in hindsight seems painfully obvious. The pieces were already on the table, they simply never came together in time. And that is one of the most haunting lessons from the summer of 2001, because sometimes the most dangerous threats are not the ones we cannot see. They are the ones we almost understand, but fail to connect before it is too late.